It's one of my favorite beers, YouTube. It's time to review Substance. What's going on? It's J-Dub and Stefani. This is Best Beers in Me. Beer reviews from Maine, New England, and beyond. As we've been doing here in the last few reviews, sticking right in Maine and right in Milo, Portland. Mostly Portland right now, but Bissell Brothers. This is Substance. Busted out the classic Bissell glassware again for this one.
Does it not taste better in proper glassware? It just does.
Joe says it does.
I tend to agree.
He's been doing this a heck of a lot longer than we have, so got to do it. As I'm getting that in the can, why don't you tell people what they should do?
Like, subscribe, and as we go along, comment.
That's right. We can talk about Substance. We can talk about Bud Light, Coors, whatever.
No, I don't want to talk about Bud Light and Coors. I'd rather talk about Substance.
And here it is. This on the can doesn't have a whole lot of info. Doesn't have to, I guess. Says a little bit. Substance Ale, a creation 2 years in the making, represents the past, present, and future of beer, drawing from the wealth of knowledge of those that came before us while creating something entirely our own. Waves of hop flavor permeate the senses as you consume the substance. We started Bissell Brothers for one reason: to use the short time that we have to live to make something awesome and share it with the world. Thank you for enjoying the fruits of our labor.
And we do.
And it is 6.6% ale. With Swish and Subby, they just put ale. It's not, they don't put IPA. They definitely don't use the term New England IPA.
So,
but
you tell me.
It is.
When you put it to the nose,
yeah,
you don't get dank on the nose.
I almost always do. Let's see.
I smell, and that's the only thing I get that comes to my mind is dank.
I smell pine, grapefruit, and weed.
100%. I get all of that.
Bitter hops. I like it.
It's dank.
It always has been, and I love it. Sometimes it's not. It's more fruity than dank, and I like it when it's dank.
So that dankiness is good stuff.
It is the dankness. Well, the dankness actually is the name of a homebrew that inspired what became Substance.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Did not know this.
I know that because I listen to a lot of podcasts.
So I just made that comment, and I had no clue. But that's just, it's so dank.
So, should we dive into it first?
We absolutely
Before we talk about the beer?
Yes.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody out there in YouTube land. Cheers, kidney.
Yeah. So I got one word for you. Dank.
Dank. That bitter hops just coating the mouth.
So what is the hops?
The hops in this
are
Falconer's flights. I know it's got Falconer's flight. Yeah, Centennial, Apollo, Chinook, and Simcoe. Simcoe. Going to give you a lot of that dankness, Chinook, some of that spiciness. Centennial, classic Falconer's Flight, they used in lieu of Citra, because when they originally started the brew, they had no Citra contracts, as Noah will talk about in this podcast, Greening In.
Okay.
You never checked it out? Check in Greening In. I'm an original Green Gang member from day one.
So I'm not a huge podcast person, but
I listen to Greening In all the time.
Oh, I love everyone. Like, everyone we've listened to.
When I'm out working, I mean, I listen to a few other shows, but if none of those shows are available, it's just I'm re-listening and learning.
Yeah. No one, Maddie, they nail it.
They sure do. So, the story on this, Noah started homebrewing around 2009, and after they decided to open a brewery, it's pretty much all Noah focused on.
So how many security deposit did he lose
And he does
from
talk
homebrewing
about
on the stove?
Every deposit. Then again, some tweaks had to be made to the recipe because they had no hop contracts for Citra. The first batch of commercially available Substance was brewed in December 2013 at their OG spot over there in One Industrial. And it's the only beer Noah brewed for the first 8 or 9 months. Remains their flagship. It's a true flagship because it's brewed every week, I believe, or used to be. It's over 30% of their production. The reason I got this up here is because over 97% of the malt bill is from Main Grain's mostly made malt house.
Oh, that's in Prescott or Mapleton?
Mapleton. And they just recently released their figures from last year. 608,460 pounds of Maine grains were sold to Bissell Brothers.
So is that as a whole, or is that Buck Farms? Is that
That's
Maine,
what
Maine
Maine
as a
Malt
whole?
House sold to Bissell. 171
So that's
football
that's
fields,
Buck Farms.
304 tons, 225 acres. Buck Farms to Bissell.
Very nice.
A lot of them going into this. So I deliver up in that area a lot for the national company that I'm a contracted employee for. And I see the fields, and I saw them today, they're covered in snow. So there is no substance being grown over there right now. But in the summer, I just look at those fields and all I think is I need to get home for a Subby.
But in the summer, this past spring, how many new silos did they put up?
3 new ones, I think. They got some great big silos. I hadn't seen the Maine Malt House facility in quite some time.
So they, in the last
Great big
8 to
shiny
12 months,
silos.
they've done some expansions.
Yeah, this year they expanded.
Yeah.
And that's why Bissell Brothers and Allagash this is this year's can. This is 2017. Other than some dust, take a look at those cans and
Gotta put my
for your
eyes on
homework
first.
for right now.
I did my homework
It's not even
earlier.
homework. This is a pop quiz. What is different about those cans? And I want to see what you find out. As she's doing that, we'll check out Untapped. 187,000 check-ins. Give this a 4.15. 57 of our friends on Best Beers in Me on Untapped give it a 4.31. I did notice going through Untapped that some people agree with me that sometimes this beer can be somewhat inconsistent. And it can be.
So the difference I see
Yes.
is that our old dusty can says made. The new can has Maine Malt House.
There you go. You win.
Thank
I
you.
don't know what you win. You win some more subs.
This was going to be our last review for the night. I won. We might review one more beer that we bought yesterday in Milo.
Well, I guess you won the quiz.
I did.
So it is. It's a little inconsistent over the years, I've noticed. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just, I'm assuming it's because of different malts that they've got over the years, different hops that they've got over the years. Sometimes even can to can. And it could just be my palate. And I've argued about this with a few of the employees down at Bissell. Not really arguing, just
You've
spirited
conversed.
conversation.
Right.
Where I say sometimes it's kind of fruity, other times it's very dank. This is a very dank pour. I feel the pour that we had yesterday on draft was more fruit forward.
I would agree with this. So when
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
When we went
I love
yesterday,
the dank.
the Subby was my first pour, and I did not get the dankness. I got big, fruity. So the can is way different. However, that being said, whether I get a draft pour that's fruity or I get a can pour that's dank, I really don't think I've had a can of substance that I did not like.
I have, but I've had a lot of cans.
Yeah. I haven't had as many cans as you.
And I don't want to sound like an alcoholic.
But like I said,
I drank a lot of Subby over the last
no
6,
matter
7
if I
years.
get the fruity or the dankness, it's solid all the way around.
Right.
No matter what you get, it's a good beer.
There is a lot of truth to different beers tasting different on draft or cans.
Oh,
And I do think
absolutely.
this is one of them. On draft, you're going to get a lot of a crisper, like brighter, fruit forward
And so that's
flavor a lot of times. And in a
absolutely
can-
what I got yesterday at Milo.
And then out of the can, I do get a lot more dank can pours. And I love the dankness.
So yesterday
Wow.
I got my pour on draft, and that was my first pour, and I got all that fruitiness. Tonight, when you opened that can and I smelled it, it was like,
No, I know. You said it immediately.
so that it was so dank.
That ain't a bad thing, in my opinion. So when I was kind of researching a little bit about substance, not that I had to research too much, but going back into August of 2015, that's the first time I checked into substance. And it was at the brewery. And I gave it a 2.5, and I said, I really don't think I'm a fan. Fast forward to February of 2016,
So,
I gave it a 5.
Can I interject real quick?
Sure.
In 2015, how far into your craft beer journey were you?
I mean, I was a few years into drinking different craft beer, but not much into the main beers or IPAs.
So do you think that factors into the rating that you gave them at
Right,
that point?
I had hardly had any IPAs up to that point.
Okay.
My first IPA I ever had was Sea Dog IPA, to be honest. I don't even know if Sea Dog makes an IPA anymore. I don't know what Sea Dog makes because I haven't had their beer in years.
I was just curious, like how far you were into your craft beer journey at that point.
If you know what Sea Dog makes these days, let us know down below. They still make the blueberry, the blue paw, whatever it's called.
They do, actually.
I actually used to like that. A lot of times I'll go through and find out what some of the friends on our list on Best Beers in Me on tap are saying.
Yeah.
And in my notes I said my head hurt from scrolling through so many Subby check-ins. There's just tons of them. Matt M had to say, he said, had to pay respect. By far the juiciest Subby can I ever had. Whoa, grapefruit, juicy fruit, good for your soul. Never tastes the same in cans as it does on draft.
And that's true.
That's what you just
I don't
said.
get the juicy fruit at all, but I get the fruit or the dankness. It's really never the same, either way. But I would say I've never gotten juicy fruit.
There's a flavor in there that I get every once in a while, and all I can say is it tastes like a yeasty flavor. And I don't get any other Bissell beer except for Substance. I don't know. Ryan DeShane said every time I get a Substance, it's better than the last. Our buddy Ian Covey, who you just met recently, over at Bissell on Angel's Day.
Yes, it was
over in Fredericton.
He and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, they were nice people.
He said, might have been my favorite last night. Overheady, just so well balanced. Would love to put it up against Focal Banger.
There you go.
That was in 2016.
Focal Banger is
from the Alchemist. And so is Heady Topper.
Yep.
Speaking of Ian Covey, congrats on your upcoming brewery that you're opening across from Calais over there in St. Andrews. That's awesome, man.
So first time I had met him and his girlfriend. Wonderful people. I had such a good time.
So we that was on Angel's Filthy Souls release day. And I knew, well, I didn't know he was coming at first, but I checked into some beers on Untapped, and he commented, well, I should have figured you would be there. So he comes in, and we see him, and he comes right over, and we got talking. I said, you're a Cicerone, right? He's like, yeah, soon to own a brewery. I didn't expect that.
So I have to like interject here. Have we not met some of the coolest, nicest people?
Yeah.
In that setting, like, so even on Oktoberfest in Milo, we met some great people.
Oh yeah, we did. All kinds of people.
And so they add you on Facebook, like you swap numbers, you text, like I've really made some great friends.
Oh, me too. Lifelong friends ever since I've seen them.
Great
and the
community.
last check-in I got to talk about, but then we'll stop talking check-ins, is my old high school buddy Jonathan Lake, and he wrote, any doubt it would be a 5.0, but then he gave it a 4.75.
So can I interject here?
Sure.
Jonathan Lake drinks craft beers?
Yeah.
So Jonathan's sister and I graduated together, and I spent a great amount of my high school time. No, Tammy.
No.
Tammy.
Shout out Tammy. Shout out
Amanda was my sister's age. Jonathan drinks craft beer.
Yeah.
I spent a great amount of my junior high and high school days at their house. I did not know this.
At least we saw him at Down Under one night.
Yes, I remember.
Oh, but I guess he wasn't talking about drinking.
No, I did. I just didn't know he was.
And I just thought it was funny. He said any doubt it would be a 5, and he gave it a 4.75.
But okay, so you get a cheers, Jonathan.
That's some of that Holton education shining through.
Okay, so
Class of '95.
He got half of his education at Southern Rustic, just so you know.
Oh, that would explain.
Which doesn't say much, but yeah, that's what he did.
I'm just kidding. I kid. There it is, Substance. Like I said, I gave it a 2.5 the first time I checked into it. I would bring it up from Portland. My friends would ask, you got any Substance? No, but I get some Swish. I don't want Swish, I want Substance. I didn't get it. I always love the Swish.
I know, you were all about the Swish.
And some of my friends would be like, Swish is good, but I'd rather have Subby. It took me a few years to really get an appreciation for the Substance, which now I love it. Now I'll drink it pretty much any time.
So I feel now you would take the Subby over the Swish. If you could get one or the other, I think you would take the Subby over the Swish. Yeah. But that was not the case 3 or 4 years ago.
Now I drink all the Swish I could. I still love Swish, though. I didn't for a while now.
So
that's a whole other beer.
We did our Untapped, and I'm probably going to give it higher than you will, because Noah has put everything into this, and it's solid, and it's consistent. I would give it a 4.5.
Yeah. I give it a 4.75.
I give it a solid 4.5.
Yeah. I mean, it's... So I find myself, if I know I have Substance in the fridge, pick something else. But when I don't have it, that's what I'm pining for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird thing. I think the aluminum silver can was inspired by Heady Topper. There's no doubt Heady Topper was a big influence on early Bissell beers. And Substance, I think, was heavily influenced by Heady Topper.
So you asked me several times when I ask if we want to share a beer.
One of these days, when I get a fresh Heady and a fresh Subby, we're going to have a beer per view match. Substance versus Heady. Heady and Subby. And who's going to win? Who knows? We'll have to find out when we do that.
Great.
I'm just thinking out loud here.
So for now, like, subscribe, comment.
Let's talk Subby. Iconic beer. So we got a series going. When I come across an iconic Maine beer, it'll be put on the playlist of iconic Maine beers. Which the first one I inducted onto there was Allagash White. And this would be number 2. Because absolutely, that's an iconic beer from Maine. That is maybe the most iconic beer from Maine. It did rival Dinner, Swish, and Allagash White.
Absolutely.
That, to me, might be Mount Rushmore of Maine. I'm not sure. We'll get there maybe eventually.
So you know what? Kudos,
But on my Mount
kudos to
Rushmore,
Noah.
Substance is going up on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
Top 4 beers ever in Maine.
absolutely.
I'll put it there. Therefore, I should give that a 5.
You probably should.
Mount Rushmore status.
So cheers, everybody.
All right, cheers.